my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, we are going back to 1995. It's my pick, and I thought, you know what? I know it's pleasure and pain, and I've realised what the pain is. It's the length of this movie, because it was 3 hours long. I completely forgot how long this movie was, but the pleasure is that when this came out in 95, I had this on VHS. I think I got an ex-rental copy of it as well. I used to love getting them ex-rental. I've said it before, where for some reason the quality was better. It was in a bigger box. I had loads of them. I used to go in the video shop and just get loads of ex-rental ones. And I had this and I loved it. So it's a classic movie that I know there's a remake, and I think DiCaprio's just announced that he's definitely been cast in it. They've been talking about it for a few years. Adam Driver's supposed to be in it as well, and various other Christian Bale. So we'll see if it actually comes about. But anyway, the original Dave starred Val Kilmer, Jon Voight, Ashley Judd, Tom Sizemore, Mr. Robert De Niro, and also, just to one-up him, Dave, Mr. Al Pacino, which I do believe had a facelift just before this movie, Dave, which I saw in the stats, which is unbelievable. But anyway, we are going to be reviewing Heat. So, Dave, I know this would have been a one that was rented a lot when you worked at Blockbuster and stuff, but do you remember watching this one?
Yeah, so you guessed it. So this was prime Blockbuster time for me, and I was convinced I'd watch this, right? And then you mentioned about the length of the movie there. I think I said before, you know, especially when I was at the Express store, you'd finish up you'd lock the store at 11 o'clock, and then you're having to do all the till and everything, do your final checks, make sure everything's tidy for the person who's coming in the morning. But then, you know, you've got your free videos that you can take out. You know, there's so many a week, and so it almost felt part of your salary. So you're almost obligated, or else you were shortchanging yourself to take some out. And so I remember getting this out, and then, I don't fucking remember hardly anything of this. I must have put it on and then started watching it. And because the Blockbuster, like the trailer videos and stuff, and the subliminal messages to try to get you to have popcorn and Coke and whatever, because that was on, somehow in my memory I thought, I've seen Heat, you know, thought it was all right, but having watched it this time, I definitely haven't seen it. But it does take me back to that time, because, like I say, just seeing it so much on the repeat trailer videos, and obviously people coming in, renting it, angry because it's not ever available. So it takes me back to that time, Chris. But so you said you had an ex-rental. I mean, what did you think that first time?
Well, I think what it was, Dave, and I think looking at the trivia was all about De Niro v. Pacino. Yes, they were in The Godfather 2, and I've talked about, like, I have that weird timeline order
the merged
one. The merged one. So when I first watched The Godfather, it was all about De Niro. It wasn't Marlon Brando, so it was sort of De Niro with Michael, obviously Pacino, but they never actually appeared, because obviously De Niro was the young Don Corleone. So I think at the time they've always been powerhouses, haven't they? You know, just before this, you've had like Goodfellas, Casino. Pacino had all sorts of different movies. I think they were two of the best actors, and obviously gangster movies were what they were about more than anything, more than a lot of the other stuff. I know, like, we've done a few, haven't we, Pacino movies, and especially De Niro, but just seeing them together, and I think I bought into that in the papers of, like, it gets them together. Even I remember watching Barry Norman talk about it, like two powerhouses, saying what the performance was like. So I didn't see it at the cinema, but wanted it on VHS. I very rarely went to the cinema, could never afford it. When I was like 95, I was 16, so I didn't have a pot to piss in. But I think with this, I was intrigued by it. And Val Kilmer obviously was filming Batman Returns at the same time as this. Batman Forever. Is it Batman Forever? Sorry, Batman Forever, not Batman Returns, Batman Forever. which is interesting. But I think it was just having like this stellar cast of different people. And the idea of it being a heist movie, bit of action as well with these people in. And De Niro for me was I've always found that, I know as he's got older, he's become a different type of person and all that, but I've always felt he was the better actor between him and Pacino. I've always like gravitated to his movies more than Pacino's, but other than The Godfather. So I think that's what was more interested in how it went about, and it was billed about that scene when they were in the restaurant, cafe, or whatever it was, the diner together talking, and there was loads of still shots amazing. In the papers. So I think that's what drew me in. But certainly when I bought it, I'm waiting for you to be honest, Dave. I've watched it for God knows, it must be 25 years. It must be early 2000s last time I watched it. But it was a regular movie in the late 90s. I watched them out of my collection of videos, and I thought I've got to watch it at some point. It meant a lot to me at one point, but also as it aged well, then when I saw the runtime, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely Pleasure paying you, Bell End, Chris. You know, having just spent a week on holiday.
Territory. This is.
Yeah, this is Blake. I don't remember that, but I'd spent a week on holiday thinking, I watch it when I'm away. I watched like an hour by the pool here. I watched fuck all day. I had a day to watch this before we recorded, and then I'd seen it on the way back. I couldn't watch it on the bloody plane because we come back from Tenerife, which was 4 hours. It'd have been ideal. And then I got back yesterday and I'm like, oh, you wanker. So luckily I was up early, so I was watching it. I watched it in 2 parts, not because it wasn't a great movie. I watched about 2 hours of it when I was in the gym and messing about in the morning. Then I sat down properly and watched the end bit because I know that's like my favourite part of the movie. But yeah, just throwing it in there, not a silly martial arts movie, not just something completely different. I just fancied like one of my staple movies from when I was sort of like late teens going into my 20s. So plus the cast as well. And I'm sort of intrigued what you think in that, because people mention it's a great movie, but it's not up there with, it's not a gangster movie. It's not up there with a lot of people's movies, say heat this, heat that. But I think I've got dragged into it through TikTok and the social media stuff about the clips of this movie have come up quite regular on my feed, and then talking about like different movie people talking everything, talking about like the remake, and they're going to get DiCaprio in it. I'm thinking, well, Christian Bale and DiCaprio, Adam Driver, it's going to be fucking brilliant. So I think that's what's lured me into sort of 31 years later, go, right, let's do the original. So that's where we are, Dave. Anyway, I waffled for a bit there, but no, I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, and I'm just going to put it out there. They shouldn't remake it. If they want to do something else that's similar, fine, but you shouldn't need to remake this one. And I just feel like I can already feel the disappointment because it's going to be, shaky action cam and all the things that, make this movie stand out. I just think they're going to miss the mark on it. But for me, I think I'm almost glad that I fell asleep and didn't actually watch this movie, because I don't think I'd have enjoyed it as much as rewatching it this time to show my hand a little bit now. For me, this is almost like it's Avengers Endgame of, the gangster genre, isn't it? The mob genre. You've got the two big powerhouses there. You've got Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was huge at the time. I know I made you watch Top Secret, which was his sort of first big thing. But, by this time, like you say, he was fucking Bruce Wayne, wasn't he, at the same time as this? So he's huge, and he's just like a bit part in this. So, yeah, really interesting movie. Again, it did make me think, when you're younger, you just have more time, don't you? So 3-hour movie, no problem. But actually, but now it's a bit harder to fit in, just with adult life and whatever. But that was quite the runtime in the mid-90s, wasn't it? Because you always talk about your sweet spot, your 90-minute, in the 80s and whatever. It started to get, more kind of 2 hours seemed to become more the norm. But yeah, 3 hours was still quite long for this type of movie, I think. Yeah,
no, 100% it was. It was, and saying that, I said to you off the podcast, I've watched like The Irishman a couple of years ago on Netflix, and they de-aged De Niro, and that was like a Scorsese. And with a Scorsese movie, you're not getting any change out of at least 2.5 hours, Dave. So I think even though this is Michael Mann and it's not Scorsese, it feels very familiar. Like you with any De Niro movie, it's very rare, unless it's the comedy like Me the Fockers and that. You're not going to get 2 hours. You're going to get 2.5 hours plus. So I think it tempered my expectations when I was like, yeah, I get it. But then I was sort of thinking, what's in the bloody movie? Because even though I've watched it quite a few times, I'm thinking, I've watched this for ages. I know the beats of it. I know what's going to happen. But I'm thinking, does it justify that time? And I think that's where it'd be interesting discussion today, I must admit.
Through lots and lots of side plots.
What a wonderful world.
Yeah, but on that note, Chris, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
In a city of bright lights, armed robberies, and terminal emotional repression,
comes Heat, the film where every man communicates exclusively through staring and firearms.
Neil McCauley, master thief, ice-cold professional.
A man so emotionally distant he probably ghosts his own reflection.
You can tell I haven't read this.
Vincent Hanna, relentless detective.
Powered entirely by caffeine, shouting, and divorce.
One hunts criminals.
The other sits in diners talking like a philosophy lecturer with PTSD.
Bullets will fly, loyalties will break.
And every conversation lasts roughly 4 hours.
From director Michael Mann
comes the ultimate film about men refusing to discuss their feelings.
Heat.
3 hours of existential dread with assault rifles.
Neil McCauley is a master thief in LA, disciplined, detached, and bound by a strict code. But when a routine armed car robbery turns into a bloodbath after an unstable new recruit murders a guard, McCauley's world begins to fracture. With 1.6 million in bearer bonds stolen and Wago on the run, McCauley finds himself hunted not only by his enemies in the criminal underworld, but by consequences of one mistake he failed to control. On the other side of the city, relentless LAPD Lieutenant Vincent Hanna takes up the case, a man as consumed by the chase as McCauley is by the job. As Hanna closes in on McCauley's attempt to sell the bearer bonds back to money launderer Roger Van Zant explodes into betrayal and violence, the two men are drawn toward an inevitable collision. A planned heist at a precious metals depository is abandoned when McCauley senses the police watching, leaving Hanna empty-handed, but now certain he has found a worthy opponent. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
That was a very good synopsis, Dave, I've got to say. You know what? It's interesting because you read the trivia on it, and I thought this at the time. When I started watching it again, I always felt that the way Pacino plays his character, Vincent Hanna, and De Niro plays Neil McCauley, that De Niro should have been the cop. Because he's dead cool, calm and collected, whereas fucking Vincent Hanna's just off his fucking tits. But then I realised that the idea in the original script was when Pacino read it, that he was in cocaine, he was a bit of a cocaine addict, but they never used it in the movie. So he when he did the read through the first time round, that's when he got the character. So he was a bit wired, a bit out there, because De Niro's plays it like he's some mafia fucking kingpin, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Even though he's the cop. And I suppose. And I'm watching it now, I'm sort of thinking, well, is this why he gets into the people's heads? Because he knows how they think. You've got to like think outside the box and everything. And I think that's really interesting performance from Pacino in this, because he's so out there, but also, Dave, he's so unconvincing as this fucking cop. I think De Niro should have been the cop, because what is he, 5 foot nothing? He doesn't look right. Apparently, as I said before, he had a facelift just before this. He's mid-50s. And his girlfriend, Dave, what's she? Mid-30s?
Yeah.
Again, it's another class. I mean, De Niro does all right as well, doesn't he? But it feels like the roles should be reversed. And that's what I remember about it the first time round, thinking, I think De Niro should have been the cop, because I think Pacino would have been a better baddie. But then it does work. The film's a great movie. I love the movie, but I don't know, that's always took me out. And I think it's just watching it again is giving that PTSD of like how out there Pacino is, because especially as they don't even mention the cocaine. So I just,
Yeah.
and it works. It does work. I suppose he's the cool baddie, and Neil, he calculates everything. But there's all this thing where they're both ex-Marines, aren't they? And that's like the whole point, where he's supposed to think on his level, and there's a bit of respect there because they've served in the armed forces and all that. But yeah, it starts off really strong, Dave, and very 90s in the music as well.
So 90s. But great for that, I have to say. So, first of all, I think, again, the runtime is a bit of a challenge, isn't it, to find a 3-hour slot in the week, but put it on. And again, I think with my reawakening, or not reawakening, but just awakening for this type of movie, and less so on the mob side, but more on the this is more just an elongated or extended heist movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was bought in straight from the start. Now, I do want to say about Pacino. I mean, yeah, I agree. And later on, it's probably in the last, I don't know, or second half at least, where he's going on about, she's got a great ass.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's the bit in particular where he goes full on Pacino, doesn't he? He's basically, some of the speeches that he gave in, like Devil's Advocate, say, it reminds me of that Pacino. And I don't know whether the character was on a bit of the old Bolivian marching powder, but I think the actor might have been. Just, again, the earlier Pacino wasn't like that, was it?
No.
Sort of, he got more and more exaggerated. But, I mean, what do you think about the fucking gratuitous sex scene with Pacino as well? Like, say, he must have been, I don't know, 50s or something, and, he's got his wife there, his third wife, romping around. I didn't think we needed that whole extended scene, to be honest.
You say that, Dave.
It seems to be a whole open plan, like fancy house as well, and you've got young Natalie Portman running around, with teenage angst downstairs. Again, I was just like, all you fucking doors just open while you're, practicing Sting's fucking, what was it, tantric,
yeah,
tantric sex all afternoon.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm with you though. I'm in from the start. I think the performances are brilliant, and I think the way it lays it up is great. But as you said before the trailer, Dave, as well, it's also difficult to watch because there's so many subplots. I mean, that Waingro guy, he's been in loads of things. I've just watched Smallville recently. He's in an episode of that, and he's in a movie I do want to do at some point. He gets the shit kicked out of him. But that guy actually ended up serving 2 years in prison. And when he was in prison, they called him Waingro, Dave, because of the movie. But he's always plays a baddie. And like that whole thing at the start where they collect him, they don't really know much about him. In the next minute, he's fucking shoots someone dead. So straight away, he's fucked it. And he's completely fucked the whole like deal, the whole whole setup of what they're doing. Yeah, the whole operation. But I do think that it works really well. But also, like, when you watch the movie, I don't know about you, it's 2 hours 50, right? So it's a hell of a lot. I mentioned it a few times, but I think you could probably take an hour off it. But I'm not mad also at the same time as well, if that makes sense, with the actual movie. I think there's a lot that needs doing, but I think there's also, because there's so much going on, it's difficult to actually keep track at times of what actually, who was supposed to be sort of rooting for, if that makes sense.
I think everyone's quite grey, aren't they? There's no, shining beacon of a hero. It's, in particular, I think you're supposed to be rooting a little bit more for Pacino. You're supposed to be rooting for the lawful side, the cop. But, I mean, this is almost like Batman and Joker, isn't it? Or another thing it reminded me of was First Blood. You say about the old military backgrounds, and you've got these two people, these two blokes, these alpha males, sizing each other up. And, I know what you're saying about should should De Niro have played the cop, because he was so calculated, wasn't he? It's like Bullseye from Daredevil, you know, just all everything's precise, everything's well thought through, everything's planned. You know, he that's the way he lives his whole life. And so you'd almost say, even though he's on the quote unquote wrong side of the law, he seems to have his shit together a lot more than the cop does. You know, he's obviously got quite a chaotic life. It does interfere with his home life as well. And I think this film could absolutely be trimmed down. And you mentioned about the plaudits that this gets. I guess it's not really held up, is it, in terms of, you know, if you speak about some of the great movies, you know, in and around this kind of genre, you're thinking probably more Godfather, you're thinking Goodfellas, you probably think of those before Heat. But I do think this is held up to be quite, you know, in quite high esteem. I think it's, you know, going to be a film that a lot of people do enjoy. But I think it's deliberate that you've got all of these messy bits of Vincent Hanna's life. You know, he doesn't have a great relationship with his wife, which, again, I think, why do you have all that sexy time in there? It seems to go on for like 5 fucking minutes. But, you know, you've got Natalie Portman, who is obviously got a complicated relationship with a dad who's a bit flaky, and a mum doesn't really pay her as much attention as she probably should. His life is just pretty shit, but he's just relentlessly focused. He's got this myopic, you know, probably hyper-focused, Chris. He's probably got ADHD. That's the problem. Yeah. So when he's trying to chase down a particular criminal, that's all he can think about. And the rest of his life is sacrificed. But I do think they could have trimmed out some of these subplots.
Yeah, I do. I mean, even the stuff with, like, you know, the Wayne Grove stuff, it reminds me a little bit of 48 Hours. You know, like that sort of... where you've got the guns on you, and he's after the women, and he's over, and the Wayne Grove's obviously a fucking pedo and that, but you get this thing where he rapes this girl who's like 16 or whatever, and it's terrible, and kills her, but then it's like, but there's no consequence. It's just sort of, it's building him into being an absolute wanker, because obviously at the start they nearly kill him, don't they, because he fucks up the deal. They're about to kill him, and he gets away because the police turn up by accident, and they look up and he disappears. But there was all little references in the trivia about, like, alluding to De Niro being like a Marine, because him and Pacino do the same sort of movie, like detains him and has like a hold on. He does a hold on Wayne Grove, and it's like, that's what you learn in the Marines, apparently, when you're like training how to sort of disable somebody and all that. So I thought that was quite interesting, these little things, but you wouldn't know that unless you go down a rabbit hole of like reading up on it. But yeah, I think Val Kilmer's one of the ones who I sort of appreciate more in this, because he plays Chris. Obviously, Ashley Judd's his missus. He's a big gambler. Vegas is mentioned, so obviously my ears pricked up straight away. Yeah. And he's got all these like issues on it, but you know, he owes money and all that. And apparently she was a call girl from Vegas once, you know, so he meets her, he's got a kid, and then she's with bloody Hank Azario, who does all the voice on The Simpsons and all that. Mo, yeah. I used to love that. Yeah. Look, when Bart and Lisa used to ring up the fucking pub, I used to love that. Mo's Tavern. Yeah.
Is there a huge ass in here?
Yeah. I just fucking love all that shit. I'll get you too, you know. I used to love that. But so you've got like the subplot with Chris and everything, and Ashley Judd, and obviously Neil, he likes Chris. You know, they have a bit of a bust up. Chris is on his floor after, you know, they've had a Barney and all that, and then he sees her with some bloke, Hank, and she's having a bit with him and all this. But I think what's interesting is I love the bit when they flip it on the police. So all of a sudden, obviously Vincent's getting nowhere, and then he goes to this club, and this guy's there saying, yeah, my brother's got this information about this guy, and he's like, is that it? What is this thing? But he calls him Slick, doesn't he? And then he says, what do you mean, Slick? And then this outs Tom Sizemore's character, because he calls everyone Slick at the original Heist. He says Slick, doesn't he? He's called Michael in this. And that pricks his interest. And then all of a sudden they've got the surveillance. But I do love that bit when Neil they flip it on him, and they've got all the LAPD, and then again, Pacino's like a baddie, really, because he's not likable in some respects, and he's like, yeah, this is great. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, they flipped it on us. Yeah, they're looking at us. You know what they're doing? They're looking at us. And it's like, he almost fucking, I sound stupid there, but he almost gets a fucking lob on because he's got a match, and this Neil is like fucking his match. You don't know who he is at first. They know the other crew, but they don't know who he is. And I think that's what is interesting. And I think that's what it is. It's like Vincent has just got this, like you said, the ADHD thing. It's sort of like that obsessive thing now of like, I need to find out who this guy is. Who is this mysterious person? And then it all comes out. He's been in jail and Alcatraz and all that sort of thing. But I do love that build up to the meeting. And also reading up on Val Kilmer was and I've said this to you before, but the scene later on with the guns and that is used like Tom Cruise's stuff that Tom Cruise has done. They're used for the military when they're actually, that scene when he's on the street using the automatic, the automatic weapon, he's actually used with the military how to reload, how to shoot, how to cover each other. And apparently, I didn't know this. Val Kilmer's a bit of a badass. His granddad and dad had a big farm, but they were into like weapons and that. So he was very proficient in weapon training and stuff. So he helped a lot of the actors as well. They had probably Andy McNabb there and that SAS people, but he was really like thinking. I love the fact that he does it all perfect. So that's what would actually happen on the street and everything. And I think that they lean into it so well because there must be about 1 million fucking bullets fired in this film all the way through. But I love it. But I'm with you. There's loads of bits where I didn't switch off, but I was like, yeah, we could have cut that. Take that out. We don't need that. Don't need the subplot with Ashley Judd and the relationship falling down. I don't think it's just more he's a gambler who needs money basically. It's ruining his relationship, and there's loads of it. And the Wayne Grove stuff we definitely could have cut out as well.
Yeah, so the Wayne Grove stuff, I mean, he's already a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's killed someone, so you don't need more of an excuse to kill him off. But he happens to be a murderer of prostitutes as well. It just doesn't need to be there. You don't need to make him any more of a baddie than he already is. He's a fucking murderer. So, yeah, there is that. I do agree. I mean, Pacino's got like this sixth sense, hasn't he, where he's saying, oh, yeah, they're looking at us, And it's like, how do you know that? And maybe it does kind of come back to the military training or something, and he recognized the scene. It's like if I was going to spy on someone or bring someone in to observe them, I'd bring them to around here. Maybe there is that. But you mentioned about Val Kilmer and his weapons training. I mean, I feel like he got a lot of that working as part of the French resistance as Nick Riviera. That's where he gained a lot of those skills.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've got to get to it, haven't we, though? Yeah, again, you've got all these subplots which do bloat the movie out. And I do feel like I did massively enjoy it, but I do feel like I could have done without all of those subplots. I feel like they could have easily got this down to 2 hours and you don't really lose anything, I don't think. But that electric diner scene where they both kind of come together. Oh, I've got hairs on the back of my arms standing up now, just thinking about it. And apparently that was based on some kind of true story. Obviously not exactly the same, but it was inspired by, this thing. I think it happened in the 60s or something, where you had these two people just sitting down calmly. And I just thought it was in terms of watching heavyweights, come together. By the way, and that's not Fury and AJ coming together in whenever it is. But this one, having them sat just calmly, very much cards on the table. We both know, where we are and who's going to speculating like, what would you do if we got the drop on you or whatever. I just thought that scene was, everything I thought it would be and better.
Yeah, it was excellent, wasn't it? And I love the calmness of him as well. I loved because he didn't rehearse it, did he? He said, De Niro said, I don't want to rehearse it. He said, I just want it to be more natural, like they don't know each other. And I think that's what is more perfect. It's that sort of, you can see, they're great actors, both of them. They're fucking brilliant. So it doesn't make it any different or any, I just think it's brilliant. I just think, honestly, I think the whole thing is just that bit. You what are we, an hour and a half into the movie at that point? He tells him what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He tells him what they're going to do. And he says, if you get him away, I'll put you away. And he says, if you get away, I'll put you away. And it's that calmness of, and there's like a respect there, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's telling the fucking police what he's going to do. And obviously we've had that ruse before where obviously something happened and Neil just got a thing, went, hang on, walk away, let's go, let's walk away. And I think that's it. As you said in the synopsis, it's that whole cat and mouse thing. But when you actually get the heist and everything, honestly, I mentioned it a minute ago, but that whole shootout is excellent. And it's so good, Dave. It's so good. Michael Mann, apparently he used like the blanks and that, but what they did was they had cameras and speakers everywhere, didn't they, to elevate the sound, so it picked it up properly. He said no other movie had ever done this. It wasn't After Effects, it was actually real, like, you know what, not real round sort of thing, but that's what they used for all the things. Like, I thought it's fucking brilliant, honestly. It's so good, that scene.
Yeah, and that's, like, say, they shouldn't do a remake, because I don't think you could do that again. There was I don't think at any point in this movie did they use a soundstage. It was all kind of on location. So that particular scene must have been so difficult to do. And they didn't want to do any dubbing, did they? They didn't want to do any recording after for all the dialogue and stuff. So yeah, they had to have these strategically placed microphones so they could pick up all the thing that the actors were saying. I guess if I'm going to nitpick, right, we've all played GTA.
all the time.
And when he's sort of getting away with Val Kilmer, who's been shot there, I'm thinking, just take a fucking car. Just get a car off someone and drive off. Like, you're not getting away on foot. But obviously they do in the end. But I couldn't help, as that scene was going on, I was enjoying the scene, but in the back of my head I'm thinking, just, hold someone up in the car and you'll get away a lot quicker.
Yeah, they could have done. It leaves it too obvious. It's fucking ridiculous, honestly. That bit, I've got to hold my hands up and say, is stupid, because even Tom Sizemore, Al Pacino just fires Dave a shot from fucking miles away. I know he's ex-Marine and all this stuff, but he takes him out, and he takes a hell of a risk because he's got a kid, hasn't he? A hostage sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's some shot that, you know what I mean? It's absolutely...
It's Walking Dead levels, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But also, you can sort of go with it. All right, fair enough. I'll take that one. We'll take that one for the team, sort of thing. We'll go with it. But I think it's all a bit after. And I remember really mentioning, but Jon Voight's a strange character in this, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's like a fixer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a fixer, but he doesn't do anything, if that makes sense. He's not really in the movie after like the first 20 minutes. You don't really see him after that. And he's a big actor at this point.
Yeah.
He'd had a bit of a revival, hasn't he? He'd been in like Mission Impossible. He'd been so he'd done things.
One of your
well.
favourites, wasn't he? Or was it one of your favourites? Burt Reynolds was in it. Oh, was it?
Oh, Deliverance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's one of my favourites, but yeah.
But they had Burt in. It wasn't one of the happiest movies we've ever watched, but but yeah, he puts him in touch with Van Sant, doesn't he? So played by William Fichtner, and he's going to be a piece of shit, but he's like a wannabe gangster, isn't he? He thinks he's fucking Bertie Big Bollocks, but he's swimming in a bigger pond now. But this is such an entourage, an ensemble cast, isn't it? Just to these big actors. You say about Tom Sizemore, he's got a small role. Jon Voight, small role. Ashley Judd, done loads of things like before this. I just think that there must have been some real convincing to get these people, like Jon Voight in particular, to play this tiny little role that no one really cares about, probably. There's probably a million actors who could probably play that role. But no, let's get Jon Voight in to do it. I mean, you've got to hold this movie up just for that, just for the world-class cast that they've got here.
Oh, it's excellent. Honestly, it's definitely up there for the cast because it's just like a who's who of everyone into it. And I think it all works, Dave. I think like nobody feels like they're undersold. The main event is Pacino and De Niro. And I think like that whole sort of dynamic, you won't be able to do that anyway. You won't be able to have them in and not play the main characters. I think the whole bit's really good. I just think when we get to the end and we get to the plane scene, you know, when he's after Neil, this is the first time that Neil has sort of like, he's felt like a bit unsure of himself, hasn't he? And he gets away. It's ridiculous. We're on fucking Halloween job here, or Friday the 13th levels of how fucking fast. I mean, De Niro is legging it, absolutely legging it across the fucking airfield. But then all they're doing there is the fucking Pacino's running, but he's nowhere near him. But then all of a sudden he's right next to him. And that whole thing with the plane coming down and the lights and everything. It's a good scene that. It does lay the tension because you sort of thinking, are they both going to get shot if you've never seen it before? But
yeah, I don't know if I like the scene or not, to be honest. I felt like for, nearly 3 hours to get there, and the way De Niro goes down, I didn't love it, if I'm honest. Neil is so precise, so planned. He's chilled as a newt on almost everything. I know he's been sort of thrown off, and when he's got his girlfriend there in the car and he sees Vincent coming after him, you can see he's almost on the borderline of losing his cool there. And then, he strategically got into position. You can see with the lights and everything. So Vincent's going to look into the lights. He's going to be blinded. And then he just steps right out to make a massive fucking shadow.
Yeah.
and then Hannah sort of, does get to shoot him. And then you have this kind of mutual respect thing. Neil knows he's been bested, and so he's going to go out. But I thought they could have done a better job of how it went down there. Yeah,
I think so. I agree. To be honest, I think you're right. I think what was interesting was with the way they held hands, because I saw that they didn't. He didn't want to speak, De Niro, just hold his hand, and I think that's good because it's interesting with like that dynamic. But also, I wanted a bit more. I think at the end, I wanted a bit more. A bit more. Something, I don't know, it just goes straight to the credits then. I mean, maybe you don't need any more. You don't need to finish Pacino's story, but I don't know, I'm with you. It's a good ending and the tension's really good, but I felt like there could have been something else. But then again, Dave, we'd be going to 3 hours then, so maybe I'm fucking, you'd be cursing me even more then.
Did you want a big, long, dying monologue?
Yeah.
Like Deadpool.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe I've answered my own question there, but yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Val Kilmer gets away, doesn't he? I mean,
yes.
Looking pretty unwell, looking a bit like his Doc Holliday character, I think. But Ashley Judd gives him a signal, and old Hank Azaria there, old Mo from The Simpsons. I mean, he seems like a bit of a piece of shit as well, doesn't he? He doesn't actually seem like a good person at all. So, yeah, Val Kilmer's the only one who gets away, pretty much.
Yeah, he does, to be fair, which is not looking likely, Dave, when he takes one for the team. So, but no, honestly, I'm
sorry, I was just going to say again, it's like the police have literally got in there, and it's like, no, it can't possibly be him. He's got short hair. He doesn't look like this picture that you've handed out to everyone at all. So, again, I think they could have done better there.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I agree. So anything else, Dave, before we get into our scores?
No, that's it. Let's do it.
So I've got to be honest, Dave. Watching this again for first of 25 years, I expected to come in and go straight to Cloud City. Brilliant, loved it. However, I felt it's a great movie, and I feel the cast helps it, and the action's brilliant, and I can't wait for the remake. But I don't think it's aged as well as I thought it would in my mind. I thought it was, I don't know, I just felt it was on a different level. Like at the Godfather type level. I honestly did. I thought it was going to be something. And I thought, I've saved it on purpose, thinking, right, this is it. It's definitely going to cost it. I don't think it is. And I don't even think it's a Pleasantville, Dave. I think I'm going to put it in Hill Valley. I think, like, it's a good movie. And I'd watch it again. It's definitely worth it. I'm not just saying that. But I didn't come out of it. I didn't get out of it what I thought I would, if that makes sense. It just, and I don't think it dragged. I think I was mesmerized by the De Niro and Pacino scene more than anything. But also, I don't know. It's just a weird one. It's just for me. But yeah, anyway, Hill Valley, Dave, right in the middle, I think.
I wasn't expecting that. So I was expecting you to put it in Cloud City. So I think for me, from going through that journey of, I've seen this, I don't really remember much about it, to no, I've definitely obviously fallen asleep because I've never seen this before. I was in from the start. I thought it was great. I loved the two main characters. I could have done without all of the side plots. I know kind of why they're there. I think I know the thinking is to give you this more rich world and more real world. And it's not just about, De Niro and Pacino. But that's all I want, really. So I could have done with those bits trimmed out. Like say, Natalie Portman, going through teenage angst and trying to commit suicide and everything. I don't think I needed that. I just want, the main baddie and the main goodie, or rather on the cop and the thief, playing cat and mouse with each other. I do think that there are certain scenes that stand out, aren't they? The actual heist and the escape, I think, really stands out. The diner scene absolutely stands out. I would absolutely watch this again, and I did really enjoy it. It sounds like probably a little bit more than you, and I'm going to put it in a Pleasantville. I do think if it was trimmed down, I do think I'd almost consider it as a Cloud City, but there's not enough payoff with the side plots to warrant that. So a great movie though, and definitely iconic. Like I say, this is the Avengers Endgame of the mid-90s, isn't it? Bringing these powerhouses in, having this massive ensemble cast of recognizable great actors. I just think it does stand out.
Yeah, no, and maybe it caught me on an off day, Dave, but I just didn't get out of it what I thought I would, so it's just a shame. But more importantly, Dave, just bear in mind how nice I've been to you with this pick and how you enjoyed it and that, because it is actually your pick next week, my friend. So what are we going to be reviewing, my friend?
You know what? We had, I'm not like split or anything. So multiple personalities. So I had something in the calendar. And I was going to go down a particular route, but there's some chatter on the Discord, and I think it might have been Helen who was saying, for the clips that we use for the intro and the outro, is it right that we've done everything apart from Crocodile Dundee? And I was thinking, did we do Karate Kid? And I was thinking, did we do that on comics? Because there was a Karate Kid comic as well. But no, we definitely did that one on the VHS as well. So, but I had to check, and I thought, you know what, I've got to do it. I absolutely loved this film when I was growing up, and sequel not so much, but that first movie, I remember watching over and over again. So yeah, it's going to be Crocodile Dundee, mate.
More Aussie terrible impressions.
You're right, you bloody drongo. Now let's get into that trailer.
Okay, mate. I love this movie. I've seen it so many times.
I don't know how we've made it this long without actually getting to this one.
I did see that comment from Helen. So right.
In the land down under, where a man thinks on his
Nick
feet,
Danby.
speaks with his
Nick
fists,
Dundee.
and lives by his wits.
Oh, I'd live by my wits as well. My word. Very impressed about that scene, Dave.
Yeah.
2 beers, all right? 1 for me, 1 for me, mate.
A legendary figure about to encounter a world more treacherous than any.
He was massive at the time, Paul Hogan, wasn't he?
Oh, it's huge. I do love a bit of New York nostalgia, Dave, even though Vegas is my city.
Yeah.
Australia, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? Just going to town for a couple of days. Probably see you around.
Oh, you will.
It's your first trip to New York.
First trip anywhere.
Well, we might just have to give you one for free.
Yeah. One what?
How are you finding New York?
I don't know how this is going to stand up, to be honest, but I
No.
just feel such joy watching this trailer.
Oh, I love some of these scenes. One of the best proper it is. I love this scene as well.
Yeah. I'm convinced,
The greatest scene, though.
this is one of the reasons Steve Irwin was so popular.
Yeah, it was. He was a modern Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
Paramount Pictures presents
Your house, Senor Meek.
Paul Hogan
Hey, my man, what's happening? Where?
as Crocodile Dundee.
You got a light, buddy?
Oh, biggest pop culture thing of the 80s.
That's a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
You love that scene.
Crocodile Dundee.
That scene is sensational, Dave. That's got one of the most iconic, one of them, the top 10 80s iconic moments, pop culture. Even any movie. If you said to someone, that's not a knife, anyone of our age will just pull it out and go, that's a knife. But everyone knows it. Everyone, it's like, get to the chopper in it, I'll be back. That is
it's up there.
so iconic. It was such a massive, I can't wait for this. It was such a massive film, Crocodile Dundee. What a fucking movie. Great pick, mate. Great pick.
It was. And I guess in my mind, it's just, it had an American in it. So it was, and, half the movie was set in Australia, wasn't it? Half of it in New York. So in my mind, it was an American movie, but it wasn't. It was an Australian movie. So
Yeah.
Looking forward to going back and watching this one.
I can't wait, mate. Can't wait. So thank you for that. And thanks everyone as always. I hope you enjoyed Heat. It was my pick. If it's, and hopefully Blake is listening, Dave, from down south. And he thinks, cheers for that, Chris, because I remember Cloud Atlas, Blake. Don't you worry. You and your mullet, I'll never forgive you. That's one reason I picked this. It isn't really. I stitched myself up with this one. Well, thanks, everyone. And also, just want to say on a personal thing, thanks to everyone the last couple of weeks. That's some personal news that I shared on the Discord and that. And I do appreciate everyone's support, all the messages I've had. So thanks, guys. I do appreciate some really good people out there. And the amazing Mr. John Hammond, as well as come up Trump's Day, we both received a wonderful present from our good friend John. He went to a martial arts like sort of signing, didn't he, comic convention, and the legend that is Lauren Avedon John's only got him to sign a King of the Kickboxer poster for me and you, Dave.
Yeah.
So thank you, John. He sent that with a lovely letter to me and to yourself. So honestly, it's top with that, John. Really appreciate it, man. I'm going to get that in a frame 100%. Can't be a bit of Billy Blanks and Lauren Avedon. So great pick and a great gesture as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a legend. And also Lauren Avedon's not bad either.
No, exactly. Yeah, I like that, Dave. I like what you did there. But anyway, big thanks again, John. So as always, if you want to email us at vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media at VHSStrikesback. If you're doing support us, please go over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So the roll call of honor, and a big thank you to Graham, Matty V, Reese, Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt Hales, Kent, Lucky Luna Green, Herbs, Jack, Math Blake, John Hammond, Mr. Tony Frida, Dave. I've been in Tenerife for a week. I don't know what's happened there. I've just gone right off there. But anyway, thank you to all our Patreons. Thanks all of you for support. Now, at this point, Dave, I usually turn around and say, Dave, what musical interlude have you got? And I remembered this time, I did do a song for this. This is my pick of a song. So I've gone, even though the movie's in the 90s, I've gone very 80s, Dave, because it does almost feel like that crossover 80s, 90s movie. I know it's mid-90s, but I had to go for something a little bit rocky, Dave, a little bit in my wheelhouse as such. So I've gone for some classic rock, Dave, just depicting what Heat is about. So I hope everyone likes it, because there's plenty of guitars in this one, my friend.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to this one. So let's go. Oh, my word.
Yeah, I thought it was a picture of the movie a bit. It'll be shredding on this, Dave.
Oh. Oh, I can see the water coming up on the snare drum.
Fucking White Snake types on this, isn't it? Or Motley Crue.
What, like a bit?
Or maybe even Def Leppard. Got that 80s synth in the background as well.
A bit of Van Halen.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Original lyrics, Dave.
Yeah.
But the game keeps dragging you down.
You gotta have a solo, Dave.
Oh, there it is.
More Def Leppard this at the end.
Yeah. Very good. I like that.
I don't know if it's the same level as yours, Dave, but I thought I had to step up today.
Yeah, in particular, like the halftime drums.
Yeah, no, yeah. And then plays your guitar solo.
But no, I could almost see the video there. I could see the big hair and the perms and like say, I can't remember which video it is now, but you get that effect where someone, you know, you've got the light in the dark and you have the water on the snare drum and it just splashes up. So yeah, over the top 80s, brilliant hair metal stuff there. But I was thinking, because I obviously said you were going to do it last week, I was thinking, where would I start from? And I couldn't get out of my head The Heat Is On, which is obviously more Beverly Hills Pop, isn't it? It's by Glenn Frey, that one. But yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed that one. And I think for next week, I shall polish off the didgeridoo, probably.
Not in front of
and
me,
that isn't a euphemism. But anyway, so thank you very much, sir. Love the chat today. Shame you didn't like going back to the movie as much, but I definitely did. 3 hours and all. But thanks also to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's odd. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up.
Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid. Yeah, maybe you're crazy. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I've seen you at 6 months.